these possible rational zeros, also known as PRZs. All right, so far we figured out if it's a quadratic or in quadratic form, we can find the zeros of the function, right? The zeros are the places where it does what?
Doesn't change.
It equals 0.
What else? Graphically, what are the zeros?
The x-intercept.
The x-intercepts, where it crosses the x-axis, right? So then we found another way, if they give us a 0 to start with, we can find other zeros. We can divide and factor and everything else, right? But now the question is, what if we have nothing but an equation? Can we find the zeros of the function? And the answer is yes, we can. So PRZs are possibilities. They're things that may or may not be zeros, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to take those possibilities and we're going to test each one until we find one that works. Okay, so it's tedious. It's tedious, but it's fun though. It goes quick. If you're good at synthetic division, it'll go quick.
Wait, so if you thought synthetic division would be...
Well, this combines synthetic division with everything else we've done. All right, let me tell you how to find the list of possibilities first, okay? Because to me, this is the most confusing part. Let me give you an equation. 2x cubed minus 19x squared plus 50x plus 30. So if I asked you to find all the zeros of this function, you'd probably look at it and go, well, I could set it equal to 0. I could try to slash it. That doesn't work. So I'm kind of at a loss, right? Well, what we can do is we can list these possibilities out. And to find them, you do the factors of the constant. What's the constant in this?
The numbers.
30. Divided by the factors of the leading coefficient. What's the leading coefficient? 2. So I want every single possible fraction that I can make using factors of 30 as the numerator, factors of 2 as the denominator. Okay? So before we start, let's list, because this is a big list, okay? Factors of 30, what are they?
5 and 6.
Start with the smallest, and let's go in order. 1, so I'm going to do plus or minus 1, right? Because negative 1, 2 negatives make a positive. All right, plus or minus 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Are we all in agreement?
Plus or minus?
Because negative 30 times negative 1 gives you 30, right? So it could be a positive or negative factor.
Ooh.
How about factors of 2?
1 and 2.
1 and 2. Anybody confused yet? I want every single possible fraction using these as the top and these as the bottom. Okay? So what I generally do, yeah, go ahead.
What do we do with the fraction?
I'm going to show you in just a minute.
Do they have like evenly?
No, it can be fractions. It can be fractions. So what I generally do is I'll take the constant factors and I'll divide them first by 1. Okay? So it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Are we all in agreement? Because that's divided by 1, right? Now I take them all and I divide them all by 2. But you don't have to repeat anything if it repeats. Okay, so 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. 2 divided by 2 is
1.
That's already on my list. 3 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's on my list. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That's on my list. 15 divided by 2. And then 30 divided by 2 is 15, and that's on my list. So the PRZs, or the possibilities that I have, are this list of numbers. Does everybody see where those numbers came from?
I don't know when to stop.
When you've used all of them. So I take all of these and divide it by 1. Then I take all of those and divide it by 2. If there was another factor here, then I would divide it by that also. So the bigger your leading coefficient is, the more.
So you use your leading coefficient.
So
Oh, your constant.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so
That
on your
seems like it's
test,
just
you'll
like
have
takes
one that
forever.
just asks you to list them. All you have to do is list them. Oh, you don't do anything with them, okay? Just list. I want to make sure you can list them out, that you know where they're coming from.
I feel like I'll forget one.
So like listing out is like what you said.
Yes, that's fine.
Does
Okay.
Does it involve the multiplying by 1 and 2 or whatever, or is it just like finding?
Fine. All right, so now my question to you is, if I have a list of possibilities, how can I find which one works? Plug them all into what? The calculator for what? What are you going to do? For X. Okay, so you could do that, and whenever you got what, you would know you hit the right one. 0. Right? What's another way we could do it?
Not that one.
What did you do for number 1 on this warm-up?
Divide. Ooh,
Divide.
Synthetic
Division, right? A little bit easier than plugging in. If I divide and I get a remainder of what? 0, I've hit a real 0.
But that you have to do that with every single one of them.
So you find one that works.
But there's like 10 of them.
What are you plugging in?
There's like 10 of them. We gotta do like 10 synthetic division problems to figure out the answer. to
Sometimes. I'm going to show you a little shortcut on your calculator, a little cheat you can use.
What?
A little cheat. Huh? No.
You do everything. You do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
All right.
This isn't that hard, it's just annoying.
This is a hard one as an introduction for me to show you how to test them. So I'm going to do another one to show you how to set it up and test it. A little bit easier one.
What's the point of this?
Let's do, if you don't have a starting point, you can find all the zeros.
Oh, okay.
Let's do,
Sorry, this is just.
let's do this one. X to the third minus 8x squared plus 11x plus 20. So all the directions tell me to do are find all the zeros. That's all it says. Find all zeros. So the first thing I want to do, since I can't set it equal to 0 and slash it and factor it and set the pieces to 0, I want to list my possibilities. What could it possibly be?
1, 2, 4, 5, 10.
PRZs. Correct. Since this is 1, the factors of 1 plus or minus 1, right? So it's really just going to be the factors of 20. 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Yes? All right, so let's start testing them. I'll start with 1. I don't want to start with one that worked. Okay, no. I'll start with 1, and I'm going to set it up synthetically. Remember your placeholders. 1, negative 8, 11, and 20. Drop it, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, nope.
Oh my gosh, that seems so ridiculous. You have to do that for all.
Until you get to the one that's not. All right, so now let's try negative 1.
No, see, that is ridiculous. Yeah, this is. You have to do the plus and the minus.
Y'all, you're assuming you're not going to get to it at the beginning. Most of the time, one of the first few work. There's very few times when you try.
There's still time. Yeah.
But there's still times when you have to. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. You have to do 12.
Oh, you're fixing to get to some that are double PRZs. Just wait.
Oh, it worked.
It worked. Look, does everyone see it worked?
Oh my gosh, it's 2 for 1.
Nope, just that. Watch what happens. I've now turned this problem into just this, from just that into a problem that looks like this. Now I can pick up the steps that we did yesterday and the day before. I can factor it and I can go from there, because if negative 1 is a 0, that means that x plus 1 is a factor. And what's left is x squared minus 9x plus 20. And can I factor that?
Yeah, put it in the box.
Put it in the box. Let me ask you this.
So, whenever, if you write negative number, you have to write it again when you're finished as a positive number and make it opposite.
No, it's still going to be -1. The 0 is -1. You change the sign to write a factor.
Wait, so if you're just trying out numbers and you try -1 and it works, you can still put 1?
Yes. See, I tried -1, it worked, so I put +1 here.
So if it were
But it, guys, if it was +1, then that would be x minus 1.
Oh, okay, so it's opposite.
Yeah. All right, factor that. 4 and 5, both signs are negative, so I get x plus 1, x minus 4, x minus 5. But remember, I was asked to find all the zeros. -1, +4, and +5. Now, this was an easy one. What? The reason this was easy is 2 parts. Number 1, well actually 3 parts. There's not a lot of PRZs here. There's a leading coefficient of 1, that makes it easy. Second reason it's easy is this factored nicely for us, right? If that didn't factor nicely, I might have to use the quadratic formula. It's also easy because this is a quadratic and we are well trained in how to solve a quadratic. What if I had done this, I got to this point, and this set of parentheses was a cubic with a power of 3 that wouldn't slash?
You'd have to use the small parentheses.
I would have to go through this process all over again for this set of parentheses also. I would have to keep doing it until I got it broke down. It's fun.
That's not fun.
Fun. It's fun.
Thank you, Ben. You definitely have a double PRZ on your test.
Yeah, I thought. Wait, what?
So let me show you.
Wait, what'd you say, Miss McGee?
You will definitely have a double PRZ on your test.
So that's one where you have, like, and you have to PRZ it again.
Yes.
Well, oh, wow. Wow.
All right, let's do this one. Let's do this one together. Let's see what this has. I've got a big star by this one example in my book. It says never use as a first example, so we won't do that.
Wow. Ms. McGee, you know about that video whenever it's like Owen Wilson saying wow, wow, wow. Wow.
Ben, you remember that time in math class when you paid attention and understood the concept?
No, I don't really.
Okay. So my directions just say find all the zeros. I should first. This is a little bit bigger. Now this is got an exponent of 4 up there. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger. A little bit harder to work with. I don't know how to factor this at all. I don't even know where to begin. So I'm going to start by listing. Go ahead. What's your question? Yep. PRZs.
1.
1, 2,
No, 3.
1, 2.
Does this one have one?
No, 1, 3, and 9.
Oh.
No, we do the last one first.
Wow. I thought we do C first.
It does. We'll do that. We'll take the GCF out.
Oh, sweet.
Good catch, Josh. Good catch.
Oh, yeah, Josh. You're tired.
It's also going to make our listing of PRZs a little easier. All right.
Mecklenburg County.
PRZs. Ben. I'm looking now just at what's in parentheses. Give them to me.
1.
1. No.
1, 2.
2.
3. Wait.
No.
Man, are you stupid?
Are we doing 3 or 4? I thought we were supposed to do 3 first.
Do 4 first, leading coefficient.
1, 2, 4.
1, 24.
And then we do the other one, well, just 3.
And 1.
Every possible fraction, taking these factors divided by these factors. So you divided all of them by 1. What's another factor of 3?
1/3.
3. So now divide them all by 3. 1/3.
2/3. 4/3.
There are my PRZs.
Wow, that's whack.
All right, let's start testing them.
Wait, wouldn't 3 be 1?
Wait, do you
No.
have to do fractions?
It's
I thought.
so this is 1, 2, 4. It's all of these divided by 1, and then all of those divided by 3.
It's confusing.
Oh, I thought the 3 wasn't already up there. You put 3. Okay.
Leave it out there. Leave it out there for right now. That's gonna be what we're really doing is breaking it down and factoring it completely.
The first one.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Anna said she's already tried the first one and it works. I usually just as to kind of help you out, I generally try 1, -1, and then if there's a half, I'll usually go to a half and try that. All right, 3, 3, 4, 4, -6, -6, -4, -4, and 0.
Decimals are superior to fractions.
They are.
Okay. I've got the 3 on the outside. My factor is 1. I'm left with 3x cubed plus 4x squared minus 6x minus 4. So my first thought now is, can I factor what this parenthesis some way? Because remember, my goal is to set it equal to 0 and solve. So I could set this equal to 0, but this one, I would need to be able to factor it to set it equal to 0. So can I slash it maybe? No. So now, just like I did this in blue, I did the PRZ. I'm going to have to do it again. So now, I'm just looking at this one. Because the first and last number are the same, the PRZs are going to be the same, right?
Yeah, yeah. It'd be like
So now let's start testing again.
Wait, how are you
-1.
This time before the negative at the end.
got 'em.
3, -3, 1, -1, -7, 7. Uh-oh, that one doesn't work.
You were just a little bit.
So that's 1, -1. Let's try 2. Three, 6, 10, hush, Ben, 20, 14. That one doesn't work. I promise we're almost there. I know which one it is. Now try -2.
Dude, not negative. Yeah, that's gotta be.
It should be -2. -6, -2, 4, -2, +4, and 0.
Wait, so why did 1 not work? And the same one as the last.
Signs are different. All right, so now I have 3x minus 1. I found out -2 works, so it's x plus 2. 3x squared minus 2x minus 2. Now can I factor this? Yes, and even if I couldn't, I wouldn't have to use PRZs again because it's a quadratic. Worst case scenario, I put it in what? Quadratic formula.
Very worst case scenario.
Very worst case scenario.
Wait, I
The -2 worked.
don't get how you put it in that little thing.
The box.
Yeah, that little the thing right above the box, that all the big numbers in the red. The thing right there that says 3x1.
This.
-1.
This.
Yeah, that thing.
What about it?
How do you write it like that? The one bar.
Those numbers came from here when I divided.
You know, it doesn't do, like you just said, 3x1, x2, 3x2.
Dude, parentheses are a joke.
Okay, go ahead and drop them and see how that works for you.
Parentheses, exponents, he just does.
All right.
3x.
Opposite signs multiplies to -6, but oh, that doesn't work.
Does it work? Yeah. Okay. So would you use quadratic formula?
Oh my gosh, this is a doozy. No.
Yeah, you said this is the one that says don't use.
Why can't we slash that boy?
This one, if you slash this, you can take x squared out, you're left with 3x plus 4. Here, you can take a 2 out, you're left with 3x plus 2. These don't match. If those don't match, it doesn't group.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Wow, yes. And yes. I thought that was going to be a great question. All right, everybody to 0. X is 1. X is -2. But here, X is opposite B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Dawson, you might need 3 pages instead of 2. I might have led you astray. Are you still on the first page? Oh, good. Okay. Plus or minus 12, 24. 4 plus 24 is 28. But that's a -2 right there. 28 can break down to root 7. Yep, everybody can get divided by 2. So you get 1 plus or minus root 7 over 3. There's 2 more answers. 2, 3, 4 answers. What was my biggest exponent in the beginning? Was it 4?
Yes.
Because I got 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a doozy. It was a doozy.
They won't
Double
get harder
PRZ,
than
and then
that.
I had the quadratic formula.
Oh my gosh, it's, oh.
They don't get harder than that.
No. Oh my
Will that kind of
goodness.
thing be able to test?
I'm gonna keep.
I'm gonna make you show me at least one synthetic division where you tested it and you found that it was 0. But rather than just blindly going in and randomly checking points, I want to show you how you can utilize your calculator to kind of help you. Okay, so if you go to y equals, okay?
Wait, you can't do that on this.
No, that's not a graphing calculator.
Ah.
All right, so if you go to y equals, if you're a Casio person, you should have a graph option.
So what you're saying right now.
If you go menu, graph.
That's
Well, no,
the
I just haven't gotten into the one.
I got it.
All
I
right,
didn't get the right one.
listen, guys, Matthew, sit down. Or go to the back and leave everybody alone. Listen. Go stay focused. All right, y equals, and type the equation in. Now, I had 9x to the 4th, so 9. Your x button is the button here beside alpha. 9x, raise it. This is the button that raises it to a power. 9x to the 4th. Plus,
Short cell, leave that.
plus 3x to the 2nd.
What button raising?
The little arrow up button above the division sign.
This I've been confused about this since I got a calculator. So to make a fraction, you put the first number
man, I
and
missed.
then do the arrow to put the other number.
That makes sense. It's like a division symbol, but that's what a fraction is.
Okay, and then so what?
Like if you're gonna put 1 right into your calculator, you do 1 divided by 2.
Just press the
Wait, and then what about exponents? Is that where you?
All right, listen. Yeah. Exponents. All right, guys, I need y'all to stay with me. My battery's almost dead, and I want to get through the rest of this, okay?
And you do.
Guys.
No, try to
All right. On your calculator, if you hit the button that says zoom, it is right here. If you hit zoom 6, and while you're in this screen, make sure none of these plots are blackened, because that means they're turned on. You'll have to turn them off. You won't be able to graph them on. But hit the button that says zoom and choose the option that says standard. Okay, it's a good starting point for us. Option 6 is standard. What's standard does is standard gives you a 10 by 10 window. Negative 10 to 10, negative 10 to 10. Okay? You can adjust it if you need to. But the point I'm getting at with you is if you looked at this,
It gives you all.
I can see where it's crossing the axis. It's not going to give me the imaginary ones, but it gives me a good cheat as to what a good point to test is to start with, rather than just randomly choosing points to test, if that makes sense.
Wow. Wait, so you just start with the ones that are on the line?
That's what I would do. I would start here with 1, and I would use it. Well, was 1 one of our zeros?
Yes.
Yes, it absolutely was. 1, 2, negative 2. Yes.
Wait a
Now-
second, that just changes the game.
Now these others are off a little bit, so that's where we use the quadratic formula. Okay, so they're going to be a little bit harder. Now we're going to talk about how to calculate these and find these exact values on the calculator, but for right now I want you to be able to do it algebraically, okay, by hand. But you can use this to help you find the points you need to test. Does that make sense? So y equals, type it, and then zoom 6.